Well, hey everybody, this is Don.
And I'm Tom.
This is the vlog of many things, and tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Wizards of the Coast, double talk, backspeak, whatever you want to call it, and
Lies
yeah,
work.
yeah. And I guess
Um,
the promise of 5e backward compatibility kind of went down the old shitter, didn't it?
oh yeah, we'll get to that too. Hey Don, I had a phone call today from somebody who was like, "Hey, I got a D&D club going, just like Don started at the library." Guy named Jason Messier. He actually
Yeah, I
drove
know
up
who he
to
is.
ShireCon last year to
Hmm.
meet with me and Eric and played in Eric's game, and it's a great guy. He is a treasurer of a historical society in Bristol, Connecticut. And what his historical society said, told him, "We want you to do something to bring younger blood in." He says, "I'm going to start a gaming group." And they said,
That's
"Go
the way you
ahead."
do it.
And 6 months ago, he started with 4 players. They're up to 20. And he's doing a lot of onboarding of like people coming in, don't know RPGs. He does the onboarding games for them, and he's asking about the game that you and I and Eric are developing because it's that kind of game to help onboard people into RPGs.
Well, Blades and Arcana is going to print this weekend, so I'll have it printed and probably pretty much bound up by Wednesday, Thursday next week.
So I
So,
just I just wanted to give a shout out for him for the Bristol Historical Society's gaming club right there in Bristol, Connecticut.
mhm.
So if you're in that area at all, you should check them out. Sounds like they are a happening thing. They are ages 12 to old fart.
I wonder where Bristol's at because I got to check that out because I'm actually going to be in Connecticut here in about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh,
I got to
Bristol's where
deliver.
my dad grew up,
Yeah,
actually.
I got to deliver a Han Solo and Carbonite that I built to the battle standard up there.
That's what he mentioned. He said you were coming to Connecticut, and he was hoping to try to link
Yeah,
up
he's
with you.
messaged me. Yeah, I'm gonna message. He messaged me. I think it was yesterday saying you want to meet up. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna meet up with some lunch or something. You know?
I forgot that you were delivering a prop
Yeah.
to Connecticut.
So,
So
Thyatus, Terry, welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in.
yeah. So, anyways, shout out to Jason.
That's
Thank,
good. 20 young ones is a positive for
well,
our
it's
community in a whole.
12 to old fart.
Okay, still 20 people coming together wanting a game. You can't really complain about that. That's actually a really good thing because then they'll get the bug and they'll start leaving his group, but they'll create their own little groups of
Yeah.
five, six, 8 people. It'll just kind of like spider web out.
Well, that'll feed the cons in those areas. One of which
Yeah,
being ShireCon, which we really
yeah,
like.
yep. Well, good deal.
So
Congratulations to Jason.
so. And there's some other good news in the hobby. Wizards has a new president.
Yes,
Uh,
he does. The
I'm,
Fonz.
I'm slightly hopeful about this president because he comes from gaming,
Okay,
digital
okay.
gaming.
I made a post to that effect earlier in another group,
Okay,
and
how'd
I
that go?
basically I got a little bit of a how you doing, Holly? A little bit of a pushback, and the pushback that I got was um, it was Jason Elliott who did the pushback. I'll give credit where credit's due, and he said basically his hopes ain't that high because Blizzard has really made a lot of mistakes in the past. And my
Sure.
point is, I'm not going to knock the guy. He's qualified. He has a proven track record in gaming. Yes, digital products, but at least they finally have somebody that knows what a D20 dice is.
Yes, he made a comment on his LinkedIn page about he feels like he rolled a 20 with this
Hmm.
job move.
Yeah.
So that's better than Cynthia Williams because he at least knows what a D20 is and he understands the
Yeah.
significance of rolling a 20. That says he's played the game, whereas
Or he at least has read the product and understands the basics of the product. But
I think he
he's
understands
walking in
gaming.
but he's walking in at a really tough time because he's not really going to be able to steer anything in the near future in any significance because it looks like policies have already been set.
Yeah, that is true. But they're making him the president of Wizards and of digital
Yeah.
gaming
Mm-hmm.
specifically. So that kind of
Mm-hmm.
tells you right there where Wizards is going. They're absolutely committed to full on digital content platform, what
Well,
they've been saying right along.
well, later on, we're going to show a slide where they mention AI.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So they're embracing AI, they're embracing digital. I mean, in all fairness to them, I'm more of a, even though I do a lot of digital content online, I like my books. I like my print media. I don't like PDFs. If I have a PDF I like, frankly, I'll just print the damn thing and I'll bind it on my machine, and I have it bound anyways. But
Right. Oh,
you know, I just don't like print media or digital media, excuse me, like that. Not like that. Not to sit down and game with. And I know people like their laptops open. A lot of people don't like lugging around a bunch of books and they can just haul a 1.5 pound laptop around. But all to all their own.
well, yeah, 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 I get it. I get it. Um, but this guy's also, he's been a college professor. He's an author. He's got a varied background. Now, he is from
Hmm.
Southern California, and I think he's probably steeped in that Silicon Valley culture.
Sure.
Uh,
Well, he worked
so,
for Blizzard.
yeah.
You
Well,
know.
yeah, so, but only 4 years. He was there at Blizzard 4 years. So the past
Hmm.
4 years, I, I'm actually hopeful that he's going to do something, reasonably good. Now, the problem though with the AI is it might actually be better than what they've been producing of late, anyways. I mean,
Well,
they
again,
keep
it's gonna.
saying AI is getting better, so at some point, AI is going to do better than Strixhaven.
Well,
Honestly.
Holly says, same. I like both, but I'm leaning back to more physical media. Don't even get me started with streaming content. I agree. You
Uh,
know,
yeah. Who let her in the room? This is true.
Holly, don't worry. We love you, girl. Just you're
Yeah.
okay, all right. But the thing is the problem that this guy is going to run into, I think, is even though he's going to be the CEO of the company,
Yeah.
he still has management below him that's steeped in this old Williams mentality, the other Yahoo that just resigns mentality. This culture that D&D has, and it's like they say in the military, you're only good as the people underneath you. And you know, he has a lot of enlisted folk underneath him.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to rely on those people. And you know, see, I don't know what, and I wish Eric was here to be able to talk about this because he has more insight in this because he has contacts. But it's almost like I wonder if the culture at Wizards of the Coast is as such, people are afraid to be innovative. You know, people are afraid to toss out and say at a meeting, I don't like that idea. I have a better idea possibly because the person who's doing it has been put on a pedestal, and the office rule or the office back end rules are don't mess with that woman or don't mess with that guy because if you disagree with them, because
Yeah.
some big corporations have that.
I think the statement from the military about sergeants run the military,
Yep, the
and
NCOs.
yeah, you know, the, my father was getting ready to come back from England, and a general that he had a close working relationship with came through, did an inspection, and people were panicking. My dad's like, "Nope, we're not gonna we're gonna answer every question he asks honestly because he already knows the answer." And so this whole thing went down, and the general came over, was chummy with my dad, and afterwards, but the officer over my father came and was, I wish I had known you'd known this general. He goes, I've been trying to get myself posted back to Looking Glass. He wanted to retire out west. And so Dad said, well, give me your social security number. And he called the liaison for the general. And within 2 days, this officer had orders to go to Looking Glass. And he was like, they always said the sergeants ran the military. He goes, now I believe it. But that's if you have a good sergeant. And you like you said, there's so many enlisted underneath these C-suite executives. And there's this culture of not trusting them. And, there's this, there's been this infighting that's been going on between two groups within, Wizards. And it's just, I don't think people have the courage to make a stand and say, no, this is what we need to do. I think they're afraid to stand up and get targeted. And in that kind of an environment, even if you have a good person, they're going to stay quiet. They're afraid. They're watching their own neck. They're watching their own back.
And it sounds like to me, like almost as if the true decision makers have a lack of understanding of not so much the product, but they have more of a lack of understanding of the average user. And you have to, if you're going to create a product, you have to understand about the people who are going to use your product. I mean,
when was the last time they went to a convention and engaged with the customer base?
Yeah, they don't. That's the thing. They'll have a booth, and the people at the booth are there to take your money. They don't have an experience with the gamers. They don't have panels or Q&As or, there's not even a place on the website where, we want to hear from you. Here's
they don't want to hear from us.
That's the point. Yeah, that's the thing. And, it's they're akin to me as, there's a large village of people and they live in the castle on the hill, and the castle has a tall wall and a moat around it, and the drawbridge is never lowered because they don't want to talk to the peasants. And us gamers are the peasants.
The unwashed herd, the unwashed masses, and you might have to spray a little perfume to come down to a convention.
Exactly.
And, because every once in a while you do run into somebody with a little bit of woo-hoo. But that's just part of going to a convention.
But even when you go to the big ones, the major ones like Gen Con, where they have a large presence, it's all retail. It's all a retail presence. There's no management there talking to a gamer. There's none of them. They don't run games. They sure as hell didn't do jack squat for D&D's 50th. I mean, think about the possibilities. They could have done some type of special event and grabbed people like Cask, Jeff D, Larry Elmore, and all these icons still alive.
They could have celebrated.
They could have brought them all in and said, you know what? These are the people who started this. Look what we're benefiting from. These men and women. Bring Darlene and such there. And what they did instead is nothing.
Yeah.
Holly, real quick, said, what's that? Holly just said, I noticed streaming content as in TV and movie stuff. YouTube streaming content like this, all good to me. That's okay, Holly. We appreciate it.
Holly, I would have at that moment quoted Tombstone. It seems my hypocrisy knows no bounds.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's just it. I mean, but they didn't do nothing for D&D's 50th. And what blows my mind about it is that you got Dungeons and Dragons, which is their baby.
Yeah.
Besides Magic and stuff, but D&D is one of their flagship properties. And
there were things they could have done that would have been shut up and take my money moments. That whole meme from that one cartoon.
I can give you one.
Yeah.
If they would have sat there, did a limited run of 10,000 sets of DMG, PHB 1 and 2, and the Player's Handbook, just those 4 books as a re-release in like a special binding with new art in a slipcase, they could have put that at $499 and they would have sold out of all 20,000 copies like that. Because they would have announced it. And it just like by the end of the day, people would be going, I can't get my copy.
Yeah.
But they just kind of just said, eh.
Yeah. I mean, I would have been looking to jump on that. I mean, that would have
Yeah.
been a shut up and take my moment, take my money moment, and they just took a pass
Yeah.
on it.
Didn't care.
So many different things they could have done. They could have sold apparel with some of those original Larry Elmore covers
Yeah.
on the back, and
Yep.
I would have been like, oh God, I got to get that jacket.
Oh, wait a minute. They put the book out. The big thick book.
Yeah, well,
I mean, they did something.
they didn't do much.
Yeah, they didn't. They did not celebrate something as significant as the 50th anniversary because they're ashamed of most of
Well,
it.
yeah, that goes back to the whole legacy disclaimer. We're ashamed of that early content. We gotta poo-poo those
Well,
early
let's
content.
do this. Let's get into the slides because the slides are going to show how hypocritical that disclaimer is.
All right. Well, let's back up and show this is the new president. We're calling this his Fonzie moment. Hey,
You know what? You got to give him one thing. I mean, come on, guy. The guy has his collar up.
yeah.
If that ain't classic 1987, I don't know what is.
I had to snipe at that a little bit. I like the fonts. Come on. So
It shows you know what it shows me real quick? I'll bet you that was done on purpose to be fun.
yeah, I would buy that. I would go with that.
Yeah.
And that, so again, that puts another little small weight on the scale, leaning like, I hope this guy works out. I had no hope for Cynthia.
Well,
Glad she's gone.
Frankly, she never even made any type of really public appearance or anything.
She's just sitting no gaming.
Yep.
And frankly, the last name Williams leaves a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to TSR, Wizards of the Coast.
Lorraine
Williams, the infamous. I looked her up a while ago, trying to see if I couldn't get an interview.
Oh, how does she like her job as a manager at Arby's?
Well, is that what she's doing?
Oh, I don't know. I'm being a sarcastic.
I could not locate her.
I'm being an ass. Okay.
I could not locate a social media presence for.
Maybe I think she's more apt, probably serving French fries or something someplace. I don't know, but
I think she's just a recluse that has walled off her experience. And anyhow,
no offense to people who serve French fries, by the way.
So we're on Dungeons and Dragons Twitter page, and this little tweet from them jumped out at me
On July 15th.
Yes, and this was a cornerstone of every Dungeons and Dragons collection, and it's a quote that was in Forbes. The upcoming books are essential to the D&D experience. And so they're hawking the core rule books. You can get the player's handbook coming up this year, but you won't get one of the core rule books until 2025. But you can pre-order them now at this point if you want. And this here, I'm calling this the lie. They're finally coming out and dropping the whole facade of backward compatibility. These books are essential, and you need to buy them.
But let's just be fair on this. On this one, we gotta be a little fair. This is Forbes being quoted. Watsy's just retweeting it.
Yeah. Well, what Watsy's actually doing, because for a long time I'd go and look at their Twitter account and there wouldn't be much happening there at all. And now it's like drip, 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 tweet, 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 tweet. And they're just trying to build excitement. So yeah, we'll have another
this slide also tells me something. As big a following as Dungeons and Dragons has on Twitter, they only got so far 101 comments, 38 shares, and 192 likes. But if you look at the analytics, 60,000 people saw it. So 60,000 people saw that tweet, and out of that, only 100 people liked it. Or excuse me, commented, and 192 liked it.
Yeah. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good for them. But I think this is really them just putting a tweet out there that just kind of is dropping the facade of any backward compatible. We knew that was a lie. We knew, we had plenty of evidence that was
And yeah,
suggesting.
and for anybody who looks at this and says, well, like I did, it's only a Forbes comment they're making. Trust me, the next slides really hammer this home.
All right, so let's bring up the next one here. This was from, and again, Gizmodo, but, again, this is part of the whole drop a tweet, drop a tweet, drop a tweet. Only 12 comments on this one and 13 retweets and 138 likes.
With 16,000 people seeing it.
Yeah, and this is D&D is ready to shape the next decade of adventuring. But the next decade of adventuring for them is going straight digital, even though they're making a pretense of selling core rule books right now.
Well, I don't think they'll ever go straight digital. I think they're always going to offer the print, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to raise the print prices so high that for those who want to buy it, they're going to say, "Oh, good, go ahead." You know what I mean? We'll just make more money off it with a profit margin. But you're right, they're pushing digital. I mean, they really want people to go PDF and go online digital with their content.
The new president is from Blizzard.
You know what blows my mind about this post? I look at that tweet and I think, Wizard Tower Games, I could make a post like that and get 12 flipping comments. And I only got like 200 people that follow me on Twitter. I mean, how sad is that? You get 16,000 views on your Twitter tweet and you get 12 people commenting and 138 likes.
Yeah.
Does that tell you about the content?
I think that I think a lot of people, I was worried that people wouldn't wake up when the OGL scandal hit. And I was like, yeah, this company is not to be trusted. And, and at that time, people were kind of poo-pooing after they dropped everything in the Creative Commons by mistake and even put in Strahd and Beholder to Creative Commons stupidly. And I was like, no, this company is not to be trusted. And then Kyle Brink did his apology tour, and I was like, this company is not to be trusted. So that was the lie of backward compatibility. I'm calling, this the lie of outrage at legacy products, because here you have Chris Cox telling us, first off, we're doing R&D efforts all around AI. D&D has 50 years of content that we can mine, literally thousands of adventures that we've created. I find that statement funny, that they've created. Probably tens of millions of words we own and can leverage. And this is Chris Cox, CEO of Hasbro.
And after they posted that disclaimer, they sure as hell don't mind mining the material. But I think what they're going to do with this is just what they said. They're going to go in and they're going to strip. They should say, what it should say instead is this. First off, we're doing R&D efforts around AI. D&D has 50 years of content that we can strip mine. That's really what should be added, the word strip in front of mine. Because that's all they want to do. They want to take the content, strip out what they can get out of it that's good, that they feel is good, and they're just going to let the other stuff go. And, their IP, sadly.
Well, they certainly can. But again, it's you're going to be playing D&D with with an AI chatbot, really, essentially.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah. And then this was interesting.
Oh, real quick, we want to do something real quick. Go back to that last slide real quick, if you could.
Sure.
And that's a thank you to Yo Dano.
Yeah.
On
Yo Dano's so cool. I like Yo Dano a lot.
His hashtag, his name is Dragonlance, and he's a big at Yo Dano. Sorry, at Yo Dano. Go to his Twitter, follow him, because he does a lot of Dragonlance content. He is a Dragonlance fiend, and he knows as much about Dragonlance as Joe Block, the Greyhawk Grognard, knows about Greyhawk. real knowledge bases there. Those
So
guys. So I just want to make sure we
Dano's
do.
on Twitter. You should follow him. Joe
Absolutely.
Block is the Greyhawk Grognard on
Here
YouTube.
on YouTube.
You should follow him. We should maybe put links afterwards in the show notes.
I'll drop them in the show notes. I'll make notes while you go on to the next slide.
All right. So yeah, those guys are great. They know their stuff.
Yep.
And then this uncovering Easter eggs hidden by Gary Gygax. And
I got something for that one.
Yeah. So again, this just says, we're going to ignore Gary Gygax. We're going to put legacy disclaimers on Gary Gygax, and now suddenly, like, ooh, yeah, we're gonna use Gary Gygax.
But the thing is okay. Gary, I don't believe Gary Gygax put Easter eggs, quote unquote, except one type that I've been told. I was at Tim Kask's house. We were sitting on his back porch talking about D&D, Gary in the early days. And Tim's did say that what Gary liked to do was Gary liked to go ahead and put sometimes exotic words in the modules and games. And he said that way to get people kind of going, what does that mean? And they would look it up, you know. So if that what you want to call an Easter egg, great. But as far as any Gygax Easter eggs, I don't know of any, and I don't know of anyone who's actually said who had a knowledge of it that did it. In fact, I'll tell him. I'm gonna reach out. I'll reach out to Tim. I gotta call him tomorrow, anyways. I'm gonna ask Tim about that. Did Gygax put Easter eggs?
I would be interested in that. You know, speaking about Gary using exotic words. Yeah. I was an avid reader when I hit Dungeons and Dragons. I discovered Tolkien first, became an avid reader of Tolkien, and then Dungeons and Dragons came along, and I was like, oh, I can play out what I've been reading in Tolkien, and I was so down for it. But I was such an avid reader that all of these words I was exposed to, it actually gave me such an edge in school that I never studied for a vocabulary test. I could guess what the word meant based off how I seen it used in books and novels, and D&D was part of that whole process.
Of course it was. Yeah. You know, just like when you go look at the product that we're shipping starting this weekend, Loss of Interest of GaryCon, when you look at Tim's adventures in there, he has a few really strangely weird exotic words that even I had to go, wait a minute, is this a mistake? You know? And no, he wasn't. I know once you look it up, you know, and that's kind of fun, you know, because it forces you to do something most people don't do anymore, is look at an encyclopedia.
Look words up. And the sad thing is that, where's my phone? I mean, you know, you can look anything up so damn fast on your phone.
Yeah,
it's literally a dictionary at your fingertips, and so you know, I was helping a student with a reading assignment about diamonds today. So I pulled this right out. It says, all right, so you know his favorite color was blue, and the reading assignment didn't tell us what element would be in a diamond that would make it blue. And so we looked it up. I think it was boron for blue. And so literally right there while I'm helping the kid on my phone and, you know, Googling it, the information's there at your fingertips. And I don't know why people don't look things up anymore anyways. It's, you know, I like the challenge. I like a reading level that pushes me to learn.
That's exactly what D&D did, because, you know, I write fantasy novels, and man, D&D. I mean, yeah, sure, I read Tolkien and Eddings, and I read the Dragonlance Chronicles. I mean, I just consumed that as a young teen, but D&D really shaped my idea of fantasy, medieval fantasy, because so much of D&D they actually did research on and wanted to use the real terms and the weaponry, and you know, and I think that's why AD&D had so many problems, is because they tried to use very complicated theories behind combat and put it into a game form that was very simple to understand. That's why they have such, you know, that's why when you look at a Dungeon Master's Guide, 3/4 of it's tables. You know, it's just table after table after table, and You know, but as a young man, I look at that and I think to myself, back when I was 10 years old playing that game, just the impact on my vocabulary even, you
Hmm.
know, and it's a shame. It's a shame that they're strip mining the game, but it's what happens. They own the IP.
They own the IP. They can do it. I just, here's the only good thing that could come out of this, and that is that sooner or later AI is going to get better, and
Yes.
and that maybe AI might actually write something that's not crap.
Hmm.
That's because I've played around with AI. I've asked AI, write me a D&D adventure, and I give it some parameters, and it does. But I look at what it writes, and I'm like, I still gotta go in. I can't run this. I've got to go in and actually prepare maps. I've look up stats. I've got to prepare treasure. I got to prepare traps. It's I could do.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's entertaining to read. Like you read it and go, oh, that's pretty cool, but it's not usable in a game. And we get it all the time. At Wizard Tower, we get people, oh, here's my module I want to submit. And you're reading it and going, it is so AI. I mean, you just know it is.
Yeah.
Because AI has this weird pace to it. It's got this really weird kind of, the way it kind of talks it out.
Hmm.
And you're right. The only way you're going to really do it is to go ahead and get in and really, dig it up. But the next slide, I think, really damns them.
You want me to read it? So I pulled this because it was clear space on your bookshelf. The first opportunity to pick up the 2024 Player's Handbook will be it'll be at Gen Con. There's a couple of things here. There's a lie by implication that they're going to do this many books in hardcover. I think they're only going to do the core books, and other things will just be available by digital. So I believe
Probably.
this is a lie by implication showing this picture.
But no, it could be one other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
It's how I take it. I take it as they're basically telling you that all that 5e content is not going to be compatible with the new edition like we've been promising. So just take all those and get it off your shelf because there's new books coming. That's what I think that means.
Sell it on eBay. Get rid of it.
Yep. And that's the damning thing against WotC. And my point is, I know everybody likes the new stuff. I like new stuff, but what they're doing, like we talked about earlier, they're going off of the Apple principle. So many people who have Apple phones, you could have your phone for a year, and when they put out the new phone, you get rid of it and you go buy the newest thing. And that's what they're counting on, is I need to have the newest and shiniest thing.
If you trade in, we'll give you this much money.
That's right. But WotC ain't going to let them trade that. And they're going to basically say, thank you for your money.
So here's the thing. They said, no, it's not going to be a new edition because they knew that what happens is there's a drop off in sales, and they kept trying to sell these products that they had in development. And now they're telling you, yeah, you're going to have to replace them. Clear the space on the shelf, buy the new stuff.
Yeah,
because D&D's under monetized, so they said.
Well, and not only that, but it goes right back to the core basic principle that really makes me angry about what they're doing. Is so you basically blatantly lied to all the gamers.
Yeah.
That's what you did. You told gamers, don't worry, the new edition is going to be backwards compatible. And now they're telling you, get rid of your books off the shelf, which to me implies you're not going to need them anymore, and you need to make space on the shelf for the new content.
Well, because they're under monetized and they want you to buy it.
Yeah, they're full of crap too.
But I don't believe like all of these books that you see here, when they go through the next 5-6 years, that all of the equivalent of these books will be hardcover.
Do you know why they did that with 5e? Because look what they did with 5e. When 5e first came out, there was one player's handbook, one Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual 1, Monster Manual 2. It was like a normal, new release, 5e. Something brand new, totally different. Well, it became so popular, they went, wait a minute. We can put out another player's handbook. Oh, we can put out, new stuff, Vecna, Eye of Ruin, we can do this. And they learned.
4E did that too as well.
Well, 4E, I mean,
4E
4,
just spammed
it,
hardcover books. It was crazy.
yeah, yeah.
So
But the thing is, that's what they're doing here is I think they're going to release some core books and they're going to see how it goes. And if it goes really well, then we might see more hardcovers. But at this point, I'm almost in favor of everybody going, you know what you ought to do? Everybody ought to say, I'm not buying any of the hardcovers. I'm just going to buy the PDFs. Now they can have a warehouse full of products sitting. And when they have their fire sale, then go buy it. I mean, I'm not trying to wish, I own a game publishing company. I don't wish negative, and it's wrong for me, I guess, to say that. But on the same token, you lied to gamers blatantly.
yeah.
And this tweet, in my opinion, and I hope commenters, if you're in here watching, by all means, if you disagree with me, we'd love to hear your feedback on this because you lied. WotC lied. Yeah. And they don't care. They don't care. Yeah. That's the worst part.
When I read that new OGL licensing that they were trying to, get rid of the OGL and the new license they're offering, I was like, this company, to me, it was just so blatant. Like, do not trust them. Do not give them any more money until they shape up or ship out. And they're shipping out to digital. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, go ahead. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me.
I agree. So now let's go back to the president or the new CEO of Wizards. No, the next one. Remember?
Oh, well, actually, I have no more. That was my last tile.
No, we got the LinkedIn one.
I have his
LinkedIn. There you go.
I have his LinkedIn up, geared up. So, he's he was at the Warcraft franchise at Blizzard, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone. So he's talking about Blizzard. Well, actually, he was all right. So what he was doing at Blizzard was the past 4 years, but he's been there since 2011. It looks like.
So he has some longevity with the company.
Yeah,
13 years. That's quite a long time in the gaming business.
So I think he knows gaming. I think he's got. It's not like just pulling somebody out of Microsoft like Williams was. And
well, Thyatis real quick made a comment, Tom. He said, no, it's pretty obvious they lied and had been lying from the start. The way they did it was also done in the exact same way AAA game studios do it too. Yes, because they don't care. Because you know why? Thyatis, I agree with you, but the reason why they do this type of stuff is because no one's willing to put their foot down. I'll guarantee they are pre-selling the hell out of that content because people don't care. Because they don't pay attention. They just look at the end product. Who cares
I don't like liars. So yeah. When I peg them for a liar and they're lying to line their pockets, yep. I'm like, I'm done. I'm just done.
But see, you're not the average gamer. You're probably you're definitely an outlier like me. You're probably one out of 50, 1 out of 100 maybe. In fact, I don't even think it's that low. I think you're 1 out of 500 gamers. Because they're going to want the new version. Hey, yeah. Well, you live by principle, and that's not a bad thing to live by.
Yeah. I do my best, but no, it all happened at the same time that I'm looking at some of their product coming out. And I'm going, this is absolutely crap. Strixhaven. Give me a break.
But you know what the worst part about it is? As a publisher like me, I have to buy at least the PDFs because I have to learn the system, because I have to put out product that corresponds with it, because that's the majority of gamers. And when you're a game company, you have to keep up on the latest because that's what people play.
Do you really think that's going to stay true? I think they're going to take a hit. I think
they'll take a hit, but I think they're going to have a lot of gamers. Thyatis says, I agree. EA Games actually started this type of marketing, and I find it extremely upsetting that I found its way into tabletop. He means tabletop gaming. Yeah, I agree. It's sad. I mean, it'd be one thing if they say, what we're going to do? We're going to put 6E out. It's a new version. Okay, at least you're being honest.
Yeah. If they had been honest about it, I wouldn't, I would have less animosity towards them.
But there's
If
a possibility we're not talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Possibility is this. Back when they were making these announcements, their mindset was they might have been contemplating this is going to be compatible, and probably through the core development, the finalized development, finalized playtesting, implementation of playtesting and such, it became such where it was not, they had a choice. To keep it unique, we need to make it not compatible. Because really, if you only look at what would make, like, we'll call this 6E, just for argument's sake. The
Sure.
only way to make 6E not compatible with 5E is not world content. It's not, using a different version of Greyhawk in a different timeline. It's core mechanics. So they've obviously changed the core mechanics. Like, what is the bottom line back end engine under the hood that runs the game? That's what they changed. That, in a sense, that makes it not compatible.
Well, you've also seen the some of the changes on player characters classes, that if you try to use a backward compatible 5e character,
Yeah.
just disadvantaged because the 6e characters got more, and it makes no sense to try to use that 5e character.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing that I want to find out about this new edition. And that's we did a video about this a few weeks ago. I want to know about the pistol yielding character and the two male and female characters that look like they were adventuring in the 30s. Almost steampunk like. That's what I want to figure out. Suddenly are they bringing steampunk into D&D?
Quasi Victorian.
Mm-hmm. Kind of pulling away from the medieval aspect of it and going, if you want to play into a newer, more modern.
Yeah. I'm curious, but I'm not curious enough to really give them any money.
Well, I at least got to give them $39, I think it is, for the 3 PDFs.
Yeah, $29.99 for
$29.99. They're going to get $30 out of me because I got to get it. So I have to take a look at it and at least be able to competently talk about it. Cal, thanks for coming in the show. You say, yeah, they have a mixed look I find boring. Well, the thing is with me is this, is if they went ahead and they're implementing a more modern timeline, or having a book where they're going, okay, if you want to play Victorian era or steampunk, this is the steampunk book. I got no problem with that. But, if they're trying to mix all of this together, you're right, boring. And no wonder why it's not backwards compatible.
I think you're going to get some really odd stuff out of them. If they're going to strip mine 50 years of D&D, you're going to get things that'll be like weird, because it's strip mining a little bit from Strahd with a little bit from Dark Sun, and it's going to have a funny taste.
Well, they're going to probably take a look at the Wild West version. They're going to take a look at Top Secret. They're going to go ahead. It sounds like to me they're just going to take a blender and go and call it a shake and say, "Oh, you're going to love the taste of it." Cal Volney also says it's obvious they've inserted modern ideas of gender too. So stupid. Well, I mean, okay. I figured this topic would come up. The thing is that Taste Funny Clown World. You know what? I really don't have a problem if they have transgender characters in D&D, because really, what's the difference between a transgender character or a non-transgender character? If you don't like it, you don't got to play it. That's why I was so, when they were saying we're going to take out like half orcs and such, I was like, why? And the thing is, so to me, the whole thing with, as Cal put it, modern ideas of gender too, that doesn't bother me really as a gamer. Thyatus says, exactly, Cal, with the exception of some of the dragon and the one Dragonlance paint, the rest are boring and all look the same. It's just more than just style, it's just meh. Yeah, the art is not inspiring. I think, who was it that said, no, it was on Eric Tenkar's show from Tenkar's Tavern. I was watching one of his lives and they were talking about it, and I think it was oh, who was it? One of his co-hosts. No, it was Bad Mike. And he made a good point. He goes, when I look at the art of a game, I want art to go ahead and go, oh my God, I want to be that. I can be that character. I want to buy that thing. And this artwork just goes, meh. Cal says, leave that to tables to do, but not the main game that is based on medieval or was. Well, I mean, Cal, in all reality, if you think about it, argument against that is this. What's the big deal? Because D&D is all about fantasy anyway. Spellcasters, dragons, goblins, half-orcs, half-goblins. If we're playing older D&D, I can be a human, half-elf, half-human fighter magic user. I can fly on a red carpet if I want to, if my DM lets me. So, and they have the rules in some of the books. So having something like that in D&D so much doesn't bug me, because I have no problem with including everybody in the game. What's wrong with it? It's up to the on a practical nature, it's up to the DM and the players. Very simple. Like me, in my games, you can be a half orc. No, in my D&D game, you can be a half orc if you want. Play a half orc character. Now in 5e, that's a no-no. But also, if I'm playing 5e, I can very easily make a half orc race, modify the stats, and I can add it to my 5e game. And I'll go right back to what I tell people 10 times a week on Facebook when they start throwing the stuff out. Remember one thing, D&D. The reason why D&D is so popular, I believe, and why it became so popular is because people sat there, were able to take the game and modify it as they please. Just make sure if you modify it, you stay consistent. That's all you got to do. Cal says, don't insert modern politics. Ask for tables to do as they want to. Everyone has been included. They are the players. Yes, but the thing is I don't think it's really well, of course it's political, because everything has become political in D&D. They've made it this way. Wizards of the Coast. But at the same point, putting in, and I'm just going to say, if you want to put in characters that are transgender, so what? If you want to put it in the core rules, what's the big deal? Great, do it. As a DM, like you mentioned earlier, Cal, if you don't want to include that race or class or whatever you want to call it within your game, don't. But if it helps, it's like the wheelchair thing. Kid in the wheelchair, I want to be a kid in a wheelchair in the game, or a character in a wheelchair. Why? Well, maybe I'm in a wheelchair. Okay, well, can that DM make it work? Can that DM make it work within the game? You know what I mean? And it's kind of like more of a DM issue. Cal says that will be there and doing. They'll continue to lose audience. I don't know. They haven't really lost much of an audience. I mean, they have some pretty strong numbers, at least up through COVID, which COVID helped, of course.
Well, I want to back up to Cal's comment about politics.
Sure.
We have a divided country where you have people just doing conspiracy theory on, the recent shooting we had. You had other people rejoicing, saying things like, you had one job, do we really, we come to the game to play the game. Do we need modern politics involved in our games? I don't think so. Let's come to the game and just have fun. Leave that stuff at the door. You don't need it.
But my point is this: if you're gonna have half elves in your game, or half orcs, or if you're gonna have dual classes or dual races in your game, if it's to come in and they want to play a transgender player character, what's wrong with putting it in the rules? If you don't want to use it, don't want to use it. Chaz Connor says something here. He says transgenderism is make-believe too. Sounds like it fits. Chaz, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that, because this is the thing. I have several friends who are transgender. We work with Polly Kidd, who is transgender, and I think that that's part of the problem in this country, is the fact that we are so divided on the basics. What does it matter? I mean, I know people, and I know this is a bad analogy, okay? But I know people who celebrate St. Patrick's Day, They go out, they buy the green beer, they go ahead and they go, and they don't have a lick of Irish in them. You know what I mean? So, but why? Why? Because if you're doing something that makes you feel good, it makes you feel whole and complete as a human being, then I'm going to call Polly Kidd she, because I'll respect Polly Kidd. Because you know what it cost me to respect Polly Kidd? Not one damn thing.
I think you need to be able to sit down with somebody and have a beer with them and understand their perspective. Uh,
Yes.
That's you know my problem is I came from a family that was kind of split, and you had people on both extremes. um, it's so, and I love them all, and I'm not going to, this idea that, I don't want to have anything. I'm gonna ban you, block you if you voted for Trump or if you voted for Biden. No, I'm not banning and blocking any of them. This is my family, and I'm keeping them, and I'm going to be an adult, and I'm not going to act like a child, and I'm not going to talk to you because you voted for the wrong person. No, no, I'm just not doing that. We can get along in a family. I think we could get along in a country. We used to be able
Used
to
to.
do this. And I think we've come into a time period, like when you're gonna see political violence, like when you had Kennedy was killed and his brother was
Mm-hmm.
killed, and then Martin Luther King was killed. I'm worried that that's what's on our horizon, and we might have to go through that sort of thing here, to get a reset, and then go into another period where people are like, listen, don't talk politics and religion at the
You
dinner
shouldn't. You
table,
shouldn't do it
or
at your gaming table. That's the whole point. If
or
you're
to,
at my table, I don't care. I don't care what your political views are. Keep them out of the game.
yeah.
And Cal says it's the DM's choice to say no to modern leaking into the game. You know what? You're right. And there. I'll add to that. It is up to the DM and the players. If you have a DM that says, and I'll use transgender people as an example. If you have a DM that says, I'm not allowing transgender player characters, and you got someone at the table who's transgender, at that point they can stand up and say, okay, see you later. Because, like I say in the preface of our own RPG we're developing, is keep in mind one thing as a DM. You're only a dungeon master because you got players at your table.
Yeah.
And being a little understanding with people is actually sometimes a good thing. Terry R says the Gothic Earth setting, Mask of the Red Death, was a Victorian age setting with character creation and classes. Yes, it was. Exactly. And it's actually, I thought it was a pretty cool setting.
Yeah.
Calvin always says you could always decide to do that in your own game. Absolutely, you can. But if they're going to put it in the, but my point is I agree with you. But my point is that if Wizards of the Coast puts transgender characters into the game, more power to them. Doesn't bug me a bit, actually. Cal says there's fantasy, then there's people's personal fantasies. You don't get the forced acceptance of your personal choices in real life that you don't agree with in reality. Well, what would you do, Cal, if you came to my house and you're not Irish and you have an Irish flag on your shirt, and I tell you, you know what, you're not living that fantasy. You're not Irish. Take that damn shirt off. Go out to your car, take it off, and put one on. You'd look at me and tell me to go get bent. Rightfully so. And see, that's just it. It's everyone's entitled to their personal opinion, and you obviously and I disagree, but on the same token, the way I look at it is, and this is just my stance, Don, this square, not even Tom's, this square right here. I have no problem with transgender characters being entered into D&D. It doesn't bug me a bit. Baida says, not to mention dragon or goblin hunting too. I want to make epic stories where the heroes are heroes. Sure.
Yeah.
And then Chaz says, not trying to trash, but this exact worldview is the problem. Why can't people just do whatever they want? Anything goes is exactly where we're at. Well, wait a minute here, Chaz. You just said something here in this comment that's intriguing. You said, not trying to trash. Nope, you're not. I respect your point. You can give them here. But this is the exact worldview is the problem. Why can't people just do whatever they want? Anything goes exactly where we're at. Yeah, why can't people just do what they want? Why can't a person who's transgender be respected? I mean,
the other side of that coin, to play devil's advocate, it
sure.
would be, why can't like a certain troll we both know do whatever he wants. There comes a point where there are lines you can't cross. There are lines where you can't just do anything you want. The classic, you can't yell fire in a theater. And,
Yeah.
and I don't believe that's what Chaz is really referring to here. But there has to be some lines and some boundaries within a civil society that we just don't cross. And I think that's okay. But at the same time, I think that we need to treat people like people. So, when my first wargaming club, we had a transgender woman, okay, that came to play, and fine. You're on the other side of the table pushing regiments of infantry. I'm pushing regiments of cavalry. And the dice dictate that my cavalry ended badly in a charge. That's great. I enjoyed playing the game. I don't care about her thing. It's not an issue. We're here to play a game. We're here to have fun.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes. But Cal goes on. He says the reason to wear the Irish flag is vastly different than someone saying you must accept that they're female when they're male. Well, but see, the thing is, it's all about respect. To me, it's about me as, okay, I'm a DM, and I'll pick on Cindy and Paulie, two transgender people on my friends list, and they're at my table, and they want to play transgender characters. How does that affect my game to the negative in any way? It doesn't. It's a player character. It's just like saying I'm a male and one of my characters is a half-elf cleric named Freya. That has been a character of mine since day one of D&D. I'm not female. Why? I'm a guy. You know what I mean? Am I going to go ahead as a male, be told that I can't play a female character because I'm male? It's the same type of thing. We're all having a fantasy. We're playing a game. We're wanting to be something, you know what I mean? So to me, by just saying, go ahead, let's let you be transgender characters. Okay.
Let me ask a dumb question then. If somebody's transgender and they show up and they're gender X and they say, I'm going to play gender Y, what's the difference than a heterosexual person?
Exactly. That's my whole point.
In EverQuest and playing the opposite gender for one of their teams.
Yep. Because Tom, this is what the problem is, and Cal, don't take this wrong, and Chaz, don't take this wrong, but this is where a little bit of bigotry can come into play. It's where people go, well, the reason there is a problem with it. Why? Because I don't like. And it's like, I understand you don't like it, but that's the same thing of going back to say, wait a minute here. Wizards of the Coast has changed in the game. They got rid of half orcs because they don't like it. I mean, there's a lot of ways that I can twist this logic back and forth, and that's the thing here. That is the whole crux of all this is, why do we play D&D? Because we can be someone different. We can let our hair, well, not me, I don't have any hair, but we can let our hair down, figurative speech. And I can be the female half-elf cleric Freya in my game. I don't have to be a male. I don't have to be Cord. I don't have to be, Roderick. I can be Freya.
Well, I've seen plenty of heterosexual people play a character in a game that was not their real life gender. So what would be the difference of Polly Kidd showing up at saying, I'm going to play a female character
or a male?
It's not even, to me, it's not even like it's a transgender issue.
Bingo.
What gender are you playing? Fine. Are you playing that gender? I expect you to role play that. Yeah. That's as far as it goes for me in the game. I don't know. Exactly.
And Cal says, I don't have to buy WotC's latest version. To me, it doesn't exist as an option. Absolutely. Because you know what? As a gamer.
Me both, Cal.
Yeah. But as a gamer, the point you just made, Cal, is a very good one. Yeah. The point that I believe that you just made, that I take it as a gamer, I can make a personal decision on how I want to play my game. You know what I mean? If I want half orcs in my game, guess what? You can have half orcs in my game. Now, WotC's rules says that's a no-no. But even if I want to play 5e, I can bring into 5e half orcs, do a little bit of math, a little bit of adjustment, be creative like DMs are supposed to be, and I can go ahead and, do that. And then Cal says we all can opt out of a consumer product. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
And I guess what I was saying earlier is that, the only way that companies like Wizards of the Coast and stuff are going to respond is if you hit them in their pocketbook, because you're not going to be able to talk to them. I normally I really despise advocating boycotting a company because we don't like how they're going with their game or something. But man, I'll tell you something. What WotC's doing now is really something else, and it's a real shame. But it's been an hour. We're already at 1 hour.
It goes back to my plumbing partner, Ed, and he was Sicilian, and I tried asking him about that red meat with red wine, white, and he's drink what the hell you like. And I find that advice applies to almost everything. Game what the hell you like. Play the game you like to play, and just have fun.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's you do you is what I tell my kids. Stop being worried about what other people do. You do you. Yep. You'll be fine.
Absolutely. Well, at that, I believe we're at our 1 hour mark, Tom.
Yes. And I think we talked this out.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in.
We spiraled around the drain on transgender issue.
No, I mean, I don't mind talking about it because I think it's an issue that needs to be talked about. And I respect Cal and I respect Chaz's opinions. I don't agree with a lot of what they said, but that's the great thing about our hobby. And they didn't get insulting. I didn't insult them. And this is what should always happen. Group of adults sitting down, when there's an issue, let's talk it out. Let's be nice to each other. I don't hate Cal or Chaz. Yeah. They have their opinion. They're entitled to it. It's their game. They can game the way they want. And that's how Gary Gygax wanted it. And at that, everybody, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm Don.
And I'm Tom.
And this is the vlog of many things, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.